So technically that property's cash on cash is like what, 110, 115% a year,
Exactly.
something insane. And you can discount those numbers now with COVID, maybe discount them 20, 30%, but you're still looking at a but you're still looking at a 60 to 80% cash on cash yearly. So that was my very first one. And then we've just been building out ever since.
So tell me then, what city are you doing where you live nearby there? Is that
So mainly, I'm just in my market right now. We do have plans on getting into different markets. But what really sort of makes our property successful outside of just good management practices, right? But developing unique, I like to say Instagrammable properties, unique properties that people would be proud to put on their social media. Because that way, instead of trying to pay for ads or everything, I just had a really cool, a really good friend tell me this, that this was like 2 days ago, that if you develop properties the way we develop them, every single guest becomes an influencer because they're putting their property on their your property on their social media.
Exactly. Yes.
It's almost like a lifestyle type property. And I think that's where Airbnb, short-term rentals, hospitality is going, is towards this more unique experience. And I personally don't like to say I'm in the Airbnb business, I'm in the VRBO business. I like to say I'm in the hospitality business. We're building a hospitality brand.
Love it. Yeah. Love it. Love it. In the cabins, I don't know if this will fit into that. I was exposed to something called glamping. I don't know if you used that word, or before, which is also becoming very popular. I mean, it's
huge. I mean, so like all of our properties are like permanent foundation stick built houses. And we do that because there is an exit built in just in case it doesn't work out. We can just sell them off. And they're sort of in that square footage range where they sort of fall in the affordable housing like price range just because of the square footage. But the glamping, I mean, that a lot of my students that I've talked to started in that world. In terms of like, maybe they had like inherited some property, or maybe they purchased a cheap property. They put a couple of those yurts or like tents up and just rented those out just to make money, to get enough money to get, say, like a down payment to purchase or develop their first property. No, that's huge. I mean, people are looking for those unique experiences as we're going into the next 5-10 years.
So true, brother. Actually, I might be, starting a company. Actually,
I love it. I would love to be a part of it, man. That's awesome. Yeah.
Vinny is always trying to look at all the angles.
Yeah.
That was pretty exciting. So let me ask you a question now. You gave the word not ADU, or you don't give the word Airbnb, but you're saying cabins. Are these log cabins? Or are
so it's in
homes?
In our market, it's all dependent on every single market, because every single area is going to have a unique architecture that's unique to its area. We have 4 log cabins in our portfolio. We're actually about to get another 6. But it's all like unique properties. So like A-frames do really well, cottages do really well, chalets do really well in my market, and we're also playing around with tree houses, like houses that are like. Those if you look at price per square foot compared to what the property can bring, so like you're looking at anywhere between $400 to $500 a square foot. But if you build a 600 to 800 square foot tree house that has like full plumbing, bathroom, kitchen, everything, those properties bring in anywhere between $400 to $800 a night, and like they probably cost maybe $300,000 to $400,000 to develop.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you can actually per night. Now, are these like short-term rentals or long-term?
Yeah, they're all short-term rentals. During the slow season, we do go into some midterm rentals, maybe anywhere between 2 weeks to 30 days, just to fill in our schedules. The beautiful thing is about our mountains is like the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Smoky Mountains. They tend to be a little bit less seasonal, because when you think of a picturesque cabin, it's usually taken in the winter. Our high season here is summer and fall, but we still cash flow relatively well in the winter, because nothing gets more picturesque than a cabin in the woods, in the mountains in the winter, right? With a hot tub. To answer your original question, that we do have some log cabins, but we want them to do well on social media. That's essentially the whole idea with it. So building out the A-frames, when I say tree houses, just to get financing on them, it's houses on stilts with trees around it, essentially. That way, they're houses on stilts, and then you can still get SBA financing. You can still get commercial lending on it. But if you market them as tree houses, you do something unique on the inside and the structure. I mean, people eat that up all day, and they love that. They love posting about it. They love talking about it, and just seeing people's reviews is just the best feeling in the world. Like, yeah.
Isn't that great? And they'll tell more people. So it's a great advertisement. And then they want to have that.
Hi, you are listening to Syndication Made Easy podcast. We will be right back after this short break.
Hi, thank you so much. This is Vinny Chopra, and thank you for subscribing to my podcast and YouTube channel and Facebook pages and all the great things, and LinkedIn. Connect with me. I come live to you every Friday at 9:30 Pacific with Vinny and Bo show. Please also look at that. And also the podcast, which is my Apartment Syndication Made Easy. The book I wrote a couple of years back became international top seller on Amazon International now. And then we like to bring great guests for you every week or twice a week sometime to give you a lot of great knowledge. So please subscribe. You give us 5-star reviews on the iTunes. The better the guests we can bring, and our ranking will go higher also. Thanks again for following us and really getting the most out of it. Please comment, like, share, because we would love to bring better and better material for you.
They want to have that same experience. I mean,
and I'll tell you before we started recording this, I had said that when I first started in this, there weren't really any short-term rental books out there. There weren't even any short-term rental mentors. I just ran across someone that was doing it. I leaned, like I said, very heavily on your syndication book when it came time to raise capital. And then I leaned very heavily on hospitality books written by Disney and hotel textbooks when I first started. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's Airbnb. I just look at Airbnb and VRBO as the OTAs, the online travel agencies. The same way that Marriott has their properties on Expedia and Booking.com, that's how you should be looking at your property. Airbnb and VRBO should just be looked at as like the marketing arm to your business. It is not where your business should live at, because they have complete control of your property at that point. So we've been really focused on building out a direct booking site this year. And so what we do is, and there's nothing, I've written Bigger Pockets articles on this because I'm a short-term rental writer for Bigger Pockets. And there's nothing against this. I've read the rules and everything. So it's the same thing that the hotels do. So a lot of times they'll rely, say, like on Expedia to get a guest into their property, say Marriott. And then when you're there to get access to the internet, you have to enter and say like your email address, right? So we do the same thing. We use a service called StayFi that plugs into the back of a router, and it creates a landing page for your internet. So they have to log into the internet to get access to your internet. And it's specific to short-term rentals. But that way, we're building an email list that we can then remarket to all of our guests. Like usually when you get a guest from Airbnb and VRBO, you usually get the contact info of just the person that booked, right? Mm-hmm. But take, for instance, we have a property that can sleep 14 people. We're not, with this strategy, and it's relatively cheap to implement, we're getting all 14 people's contact info, and then we can remarket to them that way outside of doing the social media stuff, like with them promoting on their social media. That way we're building a self-sustaining business, and we're able to control our guests compared to Airbnb, VRBO, wherever the next booking platform comes from. Whoever's looking to get into this space, I would urge them that you should look at, even if you have one property, you should look at your property as a business. You're in the hospitality business. You're not in the Airbnb business. You're not in the VRBO business. You're in the hospitality business. You're building a hospitality brand.
I love it. I love it, what you're saying, because very close friend of mine, Eric, I don't know if he'll like to tell me the last name, but he also got into the Airbnb in single family home, Scottsdale, Arizona.
Beautiful. Good market.
So well. And he got from 1 to 5 now, I heard. So he's doing it, I think 30,000 cash flow per month. This is net. He's making
just that one A-frame cash flows at the high season, 7,000 a month. Just one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
At the high season, like we just passed October, we cash flowed $7,000 just off that one property.
That's
crazy.
amazing. That's very good. Very good. No, it's so exciting, this whole business. So let me ask you a question. I'm sure viewer wants to know, if I want to get started, what will be 1, 2, or 3, 4 steps?
Yeah, so it depends where your comfort level is. If you want to develop ground up, so the very first step is to be thinking about the land. So I would always recommend, if you're looking to do ground up development, and I'll give the 2 scenarios here in a second, but if you're looking to do ground up development from land, like just raw land to a property, I'd recommend working with a real estate agent that specifically deals in buying and selling land in your area, because they're going to know your zoning laws better than anyone. They're going to know all the intricacies that go into purchasing and selling land. Don't go get your cousin or get your friend that just got their real estate license. That's mistake number 1. The second thing is, when you're looking at land with the agent, and when you're looking at land by yourself with the listings that they're sending you, you have to think of the entire guest experience, not just the property itself. So what does that mean? That means the drive to and from the property. You don't want your guests to be driving 30 minutes up a gravel road before they even get to your property. A lot of times the guest is coming in at night. A lot of times they're new to the area. Sometimes their cell phone reception is going to cut out. You don't want them to be scared or annoyed by the time they even step foot in your property. So that is, we like to be off of some sort of double lane state maintained road, or we like to be off of some sort of paved road if it's going through like a community or something. So that's step number 1, is access to the road, access to the property, and then using a land real estate agent. Second step, if you're just starting a never developed property, and you've identified a GC, like a general contractor, bring them out with you. They're going to be able to tell you if you can develop the property or not. And if they don't want to do that for you, find a new GC. It's really that simple. Now that's step 1 if you're looking to do ground up stuff, and I can talk for hours on the next steps. Now, if you're not looking to do ground up, what we started doing when the supply chain issues really were at the height during COVID is we purchased a lot of properties. We purchased a lot of properties that were like log cabins or something that would do well as a short-term rental that had some sort of acreage attached to it, whether it be anywhere between 4 to 12, 4 to 20 acres. That way, we already started planning it last year, but we're finally starting to implement it because things are starting to get a little bit easier. Now, we looked at a property. We go, okay, we purchased it based off of what we can do with the land. So now we're doing the future development on that property. So that's another thing is I've seen a lot of people who get into this business that maybe built an accessory dwelling unit in their backyard, or maybe you purchase a property that already has some sort of built-in cash flow, even if you're breaking even on the mortgage initially, and then you can go out and build some more properties on that land. Maybe